I think anytime you're, with a group of, players and staff, I think, ultimately, it gives you a chance to know one another better. It gives you a chance to, build strong, unity and chemistry and all those things. And so, we take great pride in, knowing our guys, better than anyone else. And then, it allows, the players to know one another and trust one another and understand everybody's responsibilities, where you're supposed to be on the field and those things. So I think it always helps to play, to practice, to work together. And it's obviously easier to build trust.
And then switching gears a little bit, there's been a lot of talk about Caratini and what he brings to you, Darvish, and how well they've worked together. I'm wondering just your take, generally speaking, on personal catchers and if that's a philosophy you'll employ moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something we will do. Obviously, they've got history, and Darvish and him have a very good relationship connection. They've worked together. They've been the battery combination. So that's something that I'm sure both guys will. Or three guys will end up, catching Darvish. But right now, Caratini's kind of, taking him in his first bullpen, and they've done a lot of work together. So we'll kind of see what happens, over time. But we're open to, all the guys, catching our guys. I think it's important too to train. I think it's important all our catchers know all the pitchers and vice versa, throughout camp. You never know what's going to happen, whether it's, missing time because of injury. And so spring training is usually a good time to work on some of those things and build, relationships working, one-on-one pitcher and catcher.
Next up, we'll go to Adam Klug.
Hey, good morning, Jayce.
Hi, Adam.
You had mentioned the other day talking about the DH not being there, but I'm curious your take on one of the other rules from last season that will be implemented this year. It was kind of goofy last year that it had never been done, the runner on second base and extra innings, and that's going to be continuing this year. Just curious what you think of that rule after experiencing it last year.
Sure. Well, obviously, I've seen it in the minor leagues, and then last year, the first time, at the major league. So I think, you kind of look at it, how's that going to play out? I think reflecting, you kind of look back and I didn't mind the rule. I don't think we ever played a game over 11 innings. I believe was the longest, and so certainly last year it helped us with trying to save pitchers' arms. We never found ourselves in a position having to throw a position player, and so we never really got too far out of whack on having enough arms lined up for the next day. And for those reasons, kind of look back and reflect. I kind of enjoyed the rule. So yeah, that would be my quick take on it.
If you don't mind, is that a different feeling than how you felt initially when it was going to be instituted going into last year? Did you feel a certain way and change after last year, or is that kind of how you always felt?
No, I would say it changed, and I think a group of the managers, we got to talk a little bit. I think a lot of us were maybe skeptic of some of the rules, and I think not to speak for everyone, but after going through the season and then reflecting, I think I know myself, I learned a lot, and I think things changed when you saw it implemented and over time. So. I'm fine with the rule. Before last season, I don't think I felt as confident in it, but after seeing it, play out, I've got a lot more confidence in it.
Thank you.
All right, next, we'll go to Derek Togerson.
Hey, Jayce, good morning.
Morning.
Being around there for several years now, we always like to see Glenn Hoffman. He was always out there with his one fungo he's had for 35 years hitting it. A little bit weird not having him out there. Who's going to be filling his role? We know that Bobby will be over there at third base, but just kind of in general, taking over those extra reps, taking over the infield, and what's it like to have maybe just a little bit of a different face there for Padres fans when they make it out to spring training?
Yeah, you're right. Not having Hoffy here and just having his personality, around, and obviously all the experience, and so to feel those shoes. Honestly, it certainly can't be one person. It's got to be a group of guys. So we got guys that are, on the infield duties. Obviously Bobby is there. Keith Werman has helped out with the infield, and it's also a nice time too where a lot of the minor league coaches and a lot of the coordinators are helping out. Whether that's Hooper and a group of guys that are helping out and rotating. And so, overall, the biggest thing I miss out of Hoffman is just the person and the personality and the ability to keep things loose and upbeat and have fun. So it's definitely missed. Yet, I think we're going to see him later on in spring.
And then last year, you kind of went with the approach of you have guys like Skip and Bobby and Wayne, and you kind of you leaned on them a lot, being a first-year skipper. Now that you have a year, even though it's a strange year under your belt, do you take the same approach now this year that you did last year, where you're getting input from everyone, or do you kind of maybe start to assert your will a little bit more now that you're more of an established skipper in Major League Baseball?
I'm definitely, taking input, asking questions, asking those guys to bring thoughts, ideas, whether that's for, prep and spring training practice or whether we get into games and kind of all scenarios. So I think the advantage of, our staff for the most part is all back together, and that's the advantage of having year two and a year experience and knowing one another and all those things. So I don't plan on changing, asking input, those guys with the freedom to share ideas, thoughts, and hey, have you thought about this, et cetera, and that's what I expect out of those guys.
Thanks, Jayce.
Kevin Acey.
Jayce, it might be tough to have three catchers, considering you probably want to carry as many pitchers as you want. But the flexibility of two of your catchers, maybe having played other positions, especially Nola, does that make it a possibility you could have three catchers?
Yeah, we're open to that for sure, and. Obviously the two guys, you mentioned with Nolan, Caratini have the flexibility to go different spots on the infield, and with Campy as well. Campy, has the ability to play, some first base as well. So again, we don't know how everything's gonna shape up. We just know that we need to be a deep club. We need to be a versatile club, and the more guys that we have that can do that, and we think all three of those catchers I just mentioned are certainly capable of doing that.
Go back to AJ Cassavell.
Jayce, you talked a little bit about building your pitchers back from 60 to 162, especially maybe early in the season. Starting pitcher wise, is that maybe does it skew one way toward extra days rest or lower pitch counts, or is it going to be some combination of both? How do you envision that potentially playing out specifically early in the year?
I think you have to handle each pitcher individually, and I think we got to be careful and not, lump them all into this program and this is what we're going to do. So knowing our guys in and out, knowing their individual programs historically, how have they been built up, and trying to stay as consistent with that. So I think the main thing is just not to group the guys, this is what we're going to do and go. Understand that our guys are individual, they're creative, they're all going to be kind of ramped up, built up a little bit on different paces, and so just staying very flexible on that schedule.
Back to Adam Klug.
Jayce, we're going to get a chance to hear from Dinelson Lamet later today. Just curious, now that camp's been open for a couple of days, what you've seen from him.
Yeah, so he's reporting feeling well. I think it was 2 days ago. He did his long toss, a little flat ground work when we're done, and today kicking off at around 10 o'clock or so. He's going to have his bullpen. So probably report a little bit more detail after that. So excited to see him get on the mound and let him have his first kind of official bullpen going on today.